let me show you something about the reversal. So remember, if we look at plot and we look at the reversal, this graphic right here, remember when we learn something and some contradictory information comes in? So you learn something once and your brain forms a little schema to hold that unit of memory. You learn something again and that notion or that concept becomes larger and larger and larger.
You know, I like you. I really do like you.
Yeah, do you love me? That's a key question. Yeah, I know you've only known me a short while. But...
Well, I think that's sort of, yeah.
Until some contradictory information comes in.
I have to face facts. I adore Albie, but our relationship doesn't seem to work anymore.
I'll have the usual trouble with Annie in bed tonight. What do I need this?
If only I had the nerve to break up, but it would really hurt him.
So it appears, we perceive it, we deal with it, and then it reaches the evaluation mode, and then it comes into direct conflict with what we think we already know. And that is when the evaluation process, that's when this whole concept of the middle comes into question.
Albie, and then I told her about how I didn't think you'd ever really take me seriously because you don't think that I'm smart enough.
Why do you always bring that up? Because I encourage you to take adult education courses? I think it's a wonderful thing. You meet wonderful, interesting professors. Adult education is such junk. The professors are so phony. How can you do it?
I don't care what you say about David. He's a perfectly fine teacher. And what are you doing following me around for anyway?
What's following you and David?
Call this relationship quit.
That's fine. That's fine. That's great.
You might realize that you're going the wrong way. You might realize your friend is your enemy. So basically, things reverse somehow. They don't have to be a reversal. It doesn't have to be a reversal. It could just be a big thing, like Grandpa dies in Little Miss Sunshine. That's pretty much the midpoint. Wizard of Oz has no true reversal. There's just one goal. They're going along the yellow brick road. At the turning point here, a dramatic question is raised. What's that dramatic question? Will the character fulfill his inner function or inner need? What's the dramatic question in The Matrix? I would say, is he the one? Neo has his own question, what is the Matrix, which is asked at the turning point, but I don't think that is the dramatic question. Remember when Neo takes the pill, he's thrust out of the Matrix, and he meets Morpheus's real gang of people, and they're all interested, they're curious about this guy. Is he the one? Is he the one? And that becomes, I think, the dramatic question that drives the middle. Yeah, so like we learned the other day with the other graphic, these are first steps and lessons, and the consequences of those lessons, and then a reversal. Then you go a different way. And he doesn't really have a crisis here. But, you know, what I mean to say is that these things can be helpful sometimes. The belly of the well represents the final separation from the hero's known world and self. By entering this stage, the person shows their willingness to undergo a metamorphosis. Road of trials is a series of tests, tasks, or ordeals that the person must undergo to begin the transformation. Often the person fails one or more of these tests, which often occur in threes. Road of trials, it's not just one moment. You know, there's multiple moments. And I guess, why does it have to occur in threes? It doesn't, but if the middle of a screenplay, if we're trying to reason some argument, then if there's one challenge and they win, and there's another challenge and they fail, it's just not enough evidence. It's not strong enough. It's not conclusive enough. When things happen in threes, it just seems to be a little bit more convincing. Meeting with the goddess. This is the point when the person experiences a love that has the power and significance of the all-powerful, all-encompassing, unconditional love that a fortunate infant may experience with his or her mother. Right? Right? No, I didn't write this. This is the old hero's journey thing, which sometimes helps. You know, but I think like today people would say the love story. Got to have a love story. So there's Trinity, and she provides Neo with something. Temptation. This stop is about those material temptations that may lead the hero to abandon or stray from his or her quest. Atonement with the father. Well, the reason why they say the goddess is because, remember again, the way that human societies work generationally, that we have a young kid who matures into an adult. And a lot of stories are about these orphans or adolescents without families who become adults. And then they have their parents, and their parents have their parents. And so we have certain archetypes in human life, like the young hero, the young heroine, the wise old man, the wise old woman. These archetypes show up. And nobody likes their dad. So that's why we have atonement with the father. That's why this archetype is sort of a thing, because nobody likes their dad. Larry, do you like your dad?
I love my dad.
Okay, okay, that's fine. but in ancient Greek, there's the myth of slay the dragon, where every son has to grow up and metaphorically conquer their father, become more successful or whatever. Every young woman has to grow up and conquer her mother. It's just a psychological thing. Apostasis, I don't know how to pronounce it. When someone dies a physical death or dies to the self to live in spirit, he or she moves beyond the pairs of opposites to a state of divine knowledge, love, compassion, and bliss. That's not helpful, is it? A lot of that wording, I just don't think it's very helpful. But just consider having a death in your script, I think, right? Consider who's going to die. The ultimate boon is the achievement of the goal of the quest. It is what the person went on the journey to get. All the previous steps serve to prepare and purify the person for this step. Again, this really relates to those old tales where Ulysses goes on a journey and then he finds the thing halfway there, and then he comes all the way back with the thing. He goes out for the boon, he goes out for the magic elixir, he finds it, now he has to return. And then you find things like the refusal of the return. And these apply more to these older stories than they do to modern stories. Having found bliss and enlightenment in the other world, the hero may not want to return to the ordinary world to bestow the boon onto his fellow man. It's an interesting thing to consider. Magic flight. Sometimes the hero must escape with the boon. This can be just as adventurous and dangerous. But just the concept of a magic flight can be kind of cool. Like in a rom-com, what's the magical flight?
Listen, I want you to come back here. Well, then I'm going to come out there and get you.
The magical flight, the magical flight. The romantic comedies use this toward the end of Act 2B. The chase. Where is she? She's gone to the airport. Let's go. That's the magical flight. Yeah. Rescue from without. Oftentimes the hero needs a powerful guide to bring them back to everyday life, especially if the person has been wounded or weakened by the experience. Crossing the return threshold, master of two worlds, freedom to live. So it's worth checking out.